I want to talk about a few things that are important to you and have happened to you. And one of the things is that you have had Thanksgiving not only with your mom and dad and family, but also with Dr. Maya Angelou and even Oprah Winfrey. Can you just briefly talk about your relationship with them?
So my relationship with Dr., as we call her, Auntie Maya, was certainly a lot closer than with Oprah, but I've been in the environment with both of them because, as you remember, Oprah and Maya were like this. Both very strong women. Certainly I spent a lot more time around Dr. Maya Angelou. Was at her house, well, Thanksgiving, every Thanksgiving for I don't know how many years.
Because she was very good friends with your mother.
She was very good friends with my mom, and then my dad before he passed. She came to Wake Forest as an endowed chair in English, in the English department. That's how she got to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where she lived. And they wanted Dr. Angelou to meet some of the African Americans in town, and my parents were invited over amongst others, and they just kind of hit it off. My mom and Dr. Angelou became great friends. I told you the story of when she wrote on the Pulse of Morning for President Clinton's inauguration. She called my mom on the phone and said, you know, VK, I want you to come over and we're going to drink some scotch and I want you to listen to this poem that I've done for President Clinton. So that was special. Dr. Angelou, you know, you hear all these quotes. I heard her give them. The quote about when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. If you see something that you don't like, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. I mean, all those things that she said about love. Her absolute intolerance for injustice, but her also absolute intolerance for anybody that was different. I remember sitting in her house, and I swear she had dog ears, but she could hear somebody say something that was inappropriate about a group of people, a person, and she would get up, she's a very stately woman, would get up and go to the room and point and say, you must leave my house now. And they would have to get up and leave. So she was just such an inspiration to us, and she just held court. There were those times where we were in her presence, and so was Oprah, and I didn't really recognize Oprah because she just looked like the rest of us. Dr. Angelou was the one who was holding court. Oprah Winfrey left her ego outside the door. I saw it many times. The emphasis was on Dr. Maya Angelou, and she was a treasure, and I just appreciate the opportunity that I had to spend time around her, plus my children. She was also around my children who were, you know, impacted by what she did. It's a loss. We still feel that loss because she was so eclectic. She danced, she was a dancer, she was in movies, she was a director, a producer, a poet, an author. Everything she touched turned to gold.
Well, I would say everything you touched turned to gold too. As we see by medals from running, awards for your art and the photographs that you take. What does that give you? I guess what does that mean to you?
Well, the running sort of gave me, it was a sport that I could do and I didn't need a lot of money to do it, and it was just something that I took on in my older age and never would have imagined that I could run. I started running about maybe 12 years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And that's probably why my knees aren't really messed up, because I started at a later age. And I started winning in my age group because not a lot of women were out there running in my age group, and that motivated me to do more running and get more medals. And the last medal that I got that was really important for me, because I started to have back problems, so I can't really run anymore. I would every year for about 5 or 6 years, I would do the Marine Corps Marathon. The first year that I did it, my son came home from Afghanistan, and here the Marine Corps, I didn't do the marathon, the Marine Corps 10K part of the marathon. You have to run up to the Iwo Jima Memorial as part of the end of your 10K. So I ran up to the Iwo Jima Memorial, and there on the other side was my son with a big sign who would come home from Afghanistan with his uniform on, you know, good job, Mom, and so forth. He was, whoa. But the last race that I ran 2 years ago, I got the 4th place for my age group in the 10K at the Marine Corps 10K, and was invited to Quantico by the commandant to get my award. I was too busy to go, but okay, all right, I'm done.
I've arrived.
I'm done. I was never interested in doing marathons because it didn't look fun. And I'd go to Boston Marathon and many marathons, and it just didn't look fun. So running for me, I wanted to do something that was fun. And the art, many people that know me know I was married previously to Professor Albright, who was my mentor, my teacher. Started me, and I took all of his classes, all of his art classes, his art history classes and all of that. And he was a mentor to everybody, a lot of people in town, and started me on the painting and the drawing, and the photography sort of evolved into, it's really an offshoot of painting and drawing because it's still all about composition and color. And the eye that I have for photography, I have to give to Professor Bright because he taught us all how to look at things differently, to look at things from an artistic standpoint. And that has created me to be in the women's show for the last 5 years with my photography.
And
just that eye.
A lot of what you have photographed have been through your travels.
Yes, another great love. I love to travel. That's what's really bothered me with this coronavirus is that, and my favorite country is Italy. I speak some Italian. For many years I've been speaking a little bit of Italian. It's like skiing. I'm still on the bunny slope. But I want to go back to my beloved, I was there in November, to my beloved Florence and Venice and Rome. I think I was Italian in another life or something because I just feel so different when I'm in that country. My travels, Morocco, I have pictures from Morocco, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, I showed you some of those. India, which was great. I have not been to, I've been to Australia. And so I have a lot more travel. That's getting a little bit more difficult the older I get. If you don't travel first class, you know, being on a plane for that long a period of time. And I don't know, you know, things may change now. Our new normal may be that we don't want to be on flights for 24 hours unless the air filtering system is different or unless we have a vaccine. I'm not sure that I would venture, that was the longest trip that I took, to Australia.
You could live anywhere. You live here in the Youngstown area. What are your hopes for this area?
Well,
what do you love about it that keeps you here?
What do I love about it? I love the people. I have so many friends that I have met here in Youngstown since I moved here in 1989. It's home. We're sort of folksy people. We can, like Rudyard Kipling's poem, we can be with kings nor lose the common touch. We can be with anybody in royalty. I went to both of the royal weddings. I wasn't invited, but I was on the scene. But we can come back to Youngstown and go to the local spot. We could go to Cassis's MVR and have a drink and just have some pasta, because that's just who we are. I think there's a lot of history in Youngstown. I've learned a lot of history since I've been here over the years. It's been a huge melting pot. We haven't seen the police situations like other places have seen because that's just not who we are, you know, to that extent. I'm sure there are some problems, but not to that extent. I think we've had good leadership, good mayors.
Are you hopeful for its future?
I am. Downtown, my kids would never have come back to go downtown. Downtown Youngstown has been a metamorphosis to I'm happy. I think, you know, President Tressel has done a great job with Youngstown State, developing that. And I'm a student of Youngstown State. That's another Youngstown. I got my MBA from Youngstown. I believed in that school because I always said, you know, it's not the school so much, it's the teacher. You can have a teacher in a school, smaller school, who is just as good as somebody from Harvard. I would have put any of my MBA teachers up against somebody from Stanford or Harvard. So yeah, I'm a proud graduate of Youngstown State University's business school. So I enjoy it here. You can live cheaper here. You don't have to be house poor, which I see people in California, New York, you know, struggling to live, to be in this grand house with no furniture. You don't have to do that here, and you can enjoy. And we have an arts community. We have arts. We have a great symphony. What don't we have? But on a smaller scale, where we're just folks.
You've talked about how much you have learned from your mentors, your mother, your Auntie Maya, and others. What do you hope that you've imparted to your children?
Work hard. I'm hoping that I have imparted to them to have a very strong work ethic. I just can count on on both hands, the number of times that I've called in sick. And maybe I have been, but I believe in working hard. But I also believe in the stick-to-itness. You know, sometimes we enter something and then we just want to give it up and just run away to something else. If you're involved in a project, all of my kids are pretty much involved in some sort of program, mentoring program. Almost all of them involved. I think they got that from me. And I got that from my mom.
Giving back.
Giving back. My mom was, I've often said, my mom will leave nothing to us because she spent it all giving it away. Not that we expected anything, but that's just who she is. And that's who we are. And my kids, every time I turn around, my kids are involved in some sort of mentoring process. My daughter started a mentoring process at Smith College in New England for minority students in college who wanted to go to medical school. And that program still exists after 10 years. So they got that from me, but I got it from her. So it's my mother, myself. That book, you remember that book that came out in the 70s? I am my mother. And I think my kids, even though I have boys, they are their mother too. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I said, if I turn into my mom, Mary, I don't know. She goes, it's too late. It's too late. So I said, and she has a daughter now. And I see the same thing happening with my daughter, that things that she's imparting and things that hopes and dreams that she has for Olivia. And my son and his son, Graydon. One of the main things is that all my kids have had to write thank you notes. I don't care if you're too busy, you have to sit down and write a handwritten thank you note. That was always a major thing in my family. And I get incensed when people don't send thank you notes, because I just think it's such an easy thing to do, and the art of writing is lost. No emails, no texting, just get a stamp and an envelope and write a thank you note. It goes such a long way, I think.
Built for the 21st century American workforce, Eastern Gateway Community College has 2 campuses and is a national leader in online learning. EGCC.edu is a digital gateway where 30,000 students are quickly transforming their financial futures through degrees, certificates, transferable credits, and higher-paying jobs. And now, residents of the Mahoning Valley can enroll in summer classes for free. It's the EGCC Summer Guarantee. Eastern Gateway. America's new workforce starts here.